Hi y'all, this is Karen Pruitt again and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to make Jaeger Schnitzel. There's a really awesome Austrian restaurant that's about 20 minutes from my house that makes this delicious schnitzel. It's just fried pork cutlets in a cream sauce with mushrooms. It's so good. So I figured out how to not only make it, but to make it with Philadelphia cream cheese, which made it even better. So if you follow me over here, I'm going to show you my pork. I've got about a pound of pork cutlets. These are butterfly pork chops, and I'm going to show you what I did to them. Scoot those little dudes over. As you can see, there's kind of a layer of fat on there, and I don't want that. So all I'm going to do is take my knife and use a nice sharp knife and just cut off the fat. The other thing is with this fat is it gets a little bit tough, so if you can get it cut off, it'll keep it from having a tough edge on it. Next, we're going to take these pork cutlets, and you can see that they're not all the same size. They're kind of all different sizes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pounder, my meat tenderizer, and I'm going to smash them to about quarter, half-inch thick and all about the same size. It's a little loud, but it's really gratifying. And when you see it's not really moving, hit it with the tenderizer side. It'll help break up the meat and smash it flatter. What you want is it to be nice and even. You can see how big my cutlet is here, and you can see my pan here. Sorry, big cutlet. I'm going to cut it in half so that it'll fit into my pan because I want it to still have plenty of room while it's cooking so that it will cook all the way through and not be dry. You know, my grandmother used to say that she loved fried steak, and she taught me how she made her fried steak, but she said she never bought pre-tenderized meat, and the reason, it was really two reasons why. One was it was cheaper to tenderize it yourself, and they never had a lot of money. But her favorite reason was that the tenderizing was very cathartic. So when she'd had a bad week at work or was frustrated with her husband or kids, she would make fried steak and everything would feel better. She also told me that some weeks she had a lot of fried steak. Now I'm preheating my pan with about 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil over medium heat. I'm going to take my cutlets here and I'm going to do my flouring and breading mixture. I have first about about a cup of just plain all-purpose flour with about a teaspoon of each black pepper and salt already mixed in, 3 eggs that are beaten, and then about 2 cups worth of panko. So all I'm going to do is just take my cutlet and dredge it in my flour mixture and get both sides good and evenly covered. And the flour will help to season it, and then you'll dip it into your egg mixture, which will help the panko to stick on. It'll help it to get all nice and crispy and super crunchy and yummy. Oops. Trying to get all the egg. It's not cooperating. There we go. Alright. Now, as I drop it, see, it is really like cooking at home. And now into my panko mixture to get that nice and coated. And you really just want a basic coating of the panko. It's not like you're trying to, do psychotic breading here. Okay, so just a little bit of panko there. And now directly into my pan. And let it cook. You can see it's kind of a little bit frying on the outside, so it's almost hot enough. I put it in just a little bit too early. But I can fit probably 2 cutlets in that pan. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other cutlet going. And then what I'm going to do is cook these until golden brown, and I'll show you what that looks like. And then once I cook them to golden brown, I'm going to put them into my oven. So in a second, I'm going to turn my oven on to 200, put them in an oven-safe plate. Okay, this is easier to do with the hand. I'm going to put it into an oven-safe dish, and then just keep it hot in the oven while I make my sauce. That way, it gives me a chance to get all the cutlets cooked. But whoever gets those first cooked cutlets will still get nice, crispy, and delicious, and hot cutlets. Alright, so our cutlets are almost ready to flip. See how nice and yummy brown they are on the other side? That's perfect. Just flip those over, and it only took us about 3 minutes or so to get to that point. And we'll keep cooking those on the other side for about another 3 minutes, and then we'll pull them off and put them on our plate and take them to the oven. Alright, we're almost ready to put our cutlets into the oven. You can see I have the first 2 cutlets that I did, and they're beautifully golden brown. These guys look like they're about done. They're pretty close, but you can tell when you press on them, they're nice and firm, which means pork is cooked through. And we're just going to pop them into the oven for a few minutes while we're finishing cooking the rest of the cutlets and finishing the sauce. You might need to add some oil back to your pan to cook the rest of your cutlets because they do soak up the oil. So we'll just pop them in the oven. They can stay warm while we wait and while we cook. Now that our cutlets are cooked, we're going to take about 3 tablespoons of butter, unsalted or salted, whichever you prefer, and get that good melting in our hot pan. This also will kind of start to deglaze the bits that are left in the pan. Now you notice I took out, there were some extra little crunchy pieces. I took those out because we're making a white sauce, so I didn't want that to show in my sauce, so I just tossed those. Then we're going to add to the butter, we're going to add these lovely Texas cremini mushrooms. It's an 8-ounce package, and conveniently, they're already sliced, which is awesome. Makes things a lot faster. So we're going to cook these down in the butter, and it'll take probably 5-10 minutes to cook to get them good, and you want them soft and cooked, but I usually like to fry them a little bit so they have kind of a little crispy edge on them. It just kind of doubles the flavor, really. There we go. Give them a good toss in the butter and let them cook down. Alright, y'all, so you see their mushrooms are nice and getting cooked and getting nice and golden, yummy brown, and they smell good. I mean, this right here is the food of life. It's so good, and the Philly cream cheese is going to make it even better. It's going to make it so much richer. If you don't have creminis, which are basically baby bellas, you can use other mushrooms. Use button mushrooms. Use whatever mushroom you have that you like. This isn't, this is all about making the dish that you like, and feel free to adapt it. Okay, so I'm going to take these shrooms, and I'm going to go ahead and pull them into a bowl, and then I'm going to use some chicken stock to deglaze my pan. I'm going to use about a cup of just plain chicken stock, and that's going to take all these lovely bits that are left in my pan and help to incorporate them in the final sauce. Let's go ahead and get this going. I'm going to crank up my heat so that this can cook down. I'm going to crank it up from medium to high. So that'll cook down, give it a couple, 2-3 minutes. And all I'll need to do is just go ahead and use my tongs to scrape the bottom bits of my pan. And I purposely used a stainless steel pan because pans that have stainless steel on the bottom will actually leave a little sticky bits to it, which add flavor. And the chicken stock will help to deglaze and get that flavor off. Our stock has now reduced by about half. Actually, you can use stock or chicken broth. You can see it's barely coating the pan. I'm going to add the mushrooms back. And I'm adding them now before I put the rest of my sauce in, because the mushrooms will impart more mushroom flavor into the sauce this way. So just stir those in. Next, we're going to take our delicious Philadelphia cream cheese. Y'all, this adds such a completely different flavor to the sauce. It makes it creamier, it makes it richer, and it makes it just so much better than just plain cream. Normally with cream sauces, you'll add your butter towards the end. And so basically what we're doing is flipping that out for cream cheese. You can see that I've softened it already and cut it up into little chunks. And I'm just kind of smashing it against the pan to help it go ahead and melt so we can mix it in with the rest of the sauce. And once that's good and starting to melt, I'll add in our cup of cream. And I'll turn our heat back down to medium and let our sauce thicken up and cook down for just a couple minutes. It down for about 5 minutes, and I've gone ahead and turned off the heat because you can see how nice and thick it is, and look how it coats the back of that spoon really nicely. Now I'm going to do a quick taste test. Yummy. It needs just a little smidgen of pepper. The cheese and all the other ingredients that we put in here add salt, so a lot of times you don't need to add much salt. Alright, get that stirred in, and you can see I pulled out of the oven and put on this beautiful red plate some of our cutlets so they're ready to serve. Now we'll take our sauce and just drizzle it over. And there you have our delicious Jaeger Schnitzel made with the one and only Philadelphia cream cheese.